been a while since I've done one of these first chapter type of videos and decide to specifically pick up something, but I have so many things to sample, so it seems like a good time. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 different books that I have picked out that are all, I think, first books in a series. Well, at least one of them maybe is a standalone. I don't know. I think they might all be series, but we'll see. But I'm going to be really quickly talking about each one, why I have it or what I know about it, and then doing a sample of it to give it a shot and react to it. So this is kind of an adapted patron video that was picked by Heidi to do 5 of these and talk about them. And so I decided I'm going to do also like the first chapter instead of just reading the blurb. I feel like that'll be a good one to kind of just determine and see. And then I'm going to pick one to have it my goal to actually read in its entirety by the end of the year. So let's jump in and talk about it. So these are in no particular order. First one we have is The Golden Queen by Dave Wolverton. So this one, Dave Wolverton also wrote as David Farland, who wrote the Rune Lords books. And I know he wrote some like sci-fi and, oh yeah, this is right here, Star Wars, The Courtship of Princess Leia. So I know he did some of the Star Wars books. So this is more sci-fi, but also just this cover, this is immediately has me curious. But then this randomly, somebody on Discord, Dan, had found these and knew I liked the author and that asked if I was interested, so I ended up grabbing these from him. And yeah, so I don't know a ton about this otherwise, but it seems like it's going to be kind of crazy. So let's do the synopsis super quick here. We have insectoid dronans have slain the queen Semirite. Semiriti? I don't know, something like that. Throwing into chaos the 10,000 worlds over which Semirite reigned. Desperate to save mankind, Lord Varias, Semirite's near-immortal consort, has created a new queen, Everin, cloned from her dead mother. Born to rule, Everin is on the run, often only one planet ahead of advancing forces of the insectoid invaders, who recognize that Everin is a powerful rallying point for threatened humanity. Hotly pursued by the Dronans and their armed forces known as the Vanquishers, Everin falls in with cocky bodyguard Galen O'Day, the pious Auric, an intelligent black bear, and the beautiful orphan Maggie Flynn. So that's that sounds super interesting. This actually sounds, in some ways, reminds me a little bit of Deathstalker, which I read recently. But let's read the first chapter and see how we feel. Okay, well, this was absolutely wild for a first chapter. I think the style and the tone fits this cover really well. It's seems like this is going to be a bit kind of campy and silly, but with a lot of action going on. But this opens up with where the character. I think this is one of those books where you really do need to read the synopsis because it's not really explaining otherwise what's happening. But the Lady Everin is on the run with a protector, and we start with like a short scene there, and then most of the first chapter is telling the story of Galen, our rogue kind of guy, and then Everin is essentially realizes she needs to get him to be a protector, and so she's going to like talk to him. Then it's just sure he'll fall in love with her immediately, and then want to die of her and be her protector or whatnot, and she feels bad about it. But it seems like this is going to be kind of crazy, so I'll have to see. I don't know if I'm going to be in the mood for this quite yet, but this is definitely, I think, the next time I want some kind of, fun, action-packed, zany sci-fi, I'll probably pick this up. But let's try the next book and we'll see where we go from there. All right, so next up we have The Gauntlet and the Fist Beneath by Ian Green. And I don't know a ton about this one, but I remember this. I think I got this from Andrew. And at the time, I think it sounded interesting. So let's give the description a read here. So we have Fight the Storm. The endless rot storm rages over the ruins of the Farron Empire. Flore would never let the slavers of the Empire rise again. As a warrior of the Storm Guard commandos, she wrought horrors in the rot storm to protect her people. She did her duty and left the bloodshed behind. Flore's peace is shattered when blazing orbs of light cut through the night sky and descend on her village. Her daughter is abducted and Flore is forced into a chase across a land of twisted monsters and ancient gods. She must pursue the mysterious orbs whose presence could herald the return of the empire she spent her entire life fighting. Now Flore must take up the role she had sworn to put aside and become the weapon the Storm Guard trained her to be, to save not only her daughter, but her people. So yeah, okay, I can see immediately why I would have been interested in this. I'd kind of forgotten what this is about. I always like the like retired soldiers got to put it back on and go save the family and that kind of thing is a trope that it tends to work for me. So let's give this one a shot. Well, this was different in pretty much every way. Though pretty badass. So this I did the prologue because this one has a prologue, and it was around the same length of the first chapter. So I'm like, I'll just start at the prologue because I start there first. And it starts with a battle, which seems to be when the main character is. So I think that's like was back when they were still actively, a warrior. But they're fighting goblins and demons, and then the prologue ends with her like having this magical gauntlet that she punches a demon to death with. So I understand now the title of this. I was thinking just from the title that this might be a little bit more humorous, but then after reading both like the synopsis and also the prologue, I don't think that's the case. But it seemed like a very action and cool thing. There were some runes, and then I looked at about the author, and he's Scottish. So I think this is probably like has a sort of like Scottish adjacent setting, I'm guessing, but definitely interesting. Could not be more different from the first one. So I have no idea yet, but we've got a few more to try, also that are a pretty diverse group of stuff. So let's move on and see where we end up. So next up, we have Lord of the Isles by David Drake. Now, I have had this specific book for so many years. This is one that I think I randomly got at like a Goodwill or something many, many years ago. I used to do that quite a lot more because I would just try to get books used and cheap wherever I could find them. And this is just kind of an old school fantasy. I mean, look at the cover, you can already tell. And I've heard very few people talk about David Drake overall, but this is just something that seemed interesting. And I've since collected multiple other books in this series, but I've not to actually read it. And got a cool map here too. So let's take a look here. I guess it's mentioning, I guess he did a lot of military sci-fi, but then went back to this later. So here we go. Are we actually going to talk about it? I hate it when they just are like talking about the author and not the story at all. But so we have now in Lord of the Isles, Drake returns to fantasy with a towering and complex epic of heroic adventure filled with passion and magic, set in an extraordinary and colorful world where the elemental forces that empower magic are rising to 1,000-year peak. Into this world, survivors from the last magical peak intrude Tenoctrus. That's a cool name. Tenoctrus, a quiet and scholarly sorceress swept out of the past at the moment of final catastrophe as her civilization sank beneath the sea. The ghost of the greatest ruler, King Karis of the Isles, and the great magician known only as the Hooded One, who actually caused that ancient catastrophe. So, yeah, big epic fantasy sounds right up my alley, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so I feel like this simultaneously gave me almost nothing to work with and has me super intrigued. So from reading the synopsis, and then this has a prologue as well, but the first chapter was like a page and a half, and the prologue was only a couple of pages. So I'm like, I'll just do both really quick because it was super short. And the prologue is as this big like cataclysm is happening, and it's talking about Tenoctrus, which is still I kind of want just that is like top tier fantasy name, Tenoctrus. I really like that name. And the Hooded One and the other guy. And it's just I'm just focused on Tenoctrus. That's the name that's sticking out the most. But showing that happening, and then the chapter one is maybe her, maybe somebody else who's like this very powerful wizard and has this magical game board and is talking about like moving her pieces being humans and halflings and just I don't know, a lot of the kind of old school fantasy goodness. So that is I'm very intrigued by this one. To maybe get to it. So that one might be in the lead at the moment. I have to say I'm really intrigued by all of these. So it's entirely possible that I end up reading all or more of these by year end, just because I'm kind of intrigued. I feel like this is going really well. So I wonder if I'm not going to like one of the last two because I've never had it go so well. I don't think with doing first chapters, but let's jump in and try the next one and see how that goes. And that is Lies of Descent by Troy Carroll Boucher. This one, so I had a mass market paperback copy of this book for a long time, and this was recommended, I think, ages ago, and I think it was Stacy. The Chapter Conundrum is her channel. I think it might have been. So I'm gonna tag her, and she can tell me if it was her or not. But I had for a long time, and then I ended up finding a cheap hardcover, so I grabbed this, and yet this is the second copy of this book that I've owned, and I have yet to actually read it, and I still don't know a ton about it, but it's one of those ones where I'd randomly picked up. It has, I think, an interesting cover as well. Let's read the synopsis, see how we start, and then we'll do the first chapter here. So we have: the fallen gods' war drove the remnants of a victorious army across the ocean in search of a new homeland. 1,000 years later, the lifeless continent of Dragora is largely forgotten, a symbol for the regiments that remain. Demons to some, protectors to others, the power of their god-touched blades has forged a nation, though many resent their absolute control. Riam, I can never pronounce names. Riam and Nola are unknowing descendants of the old world. When it's discovered they carry enough Dragoran blood to serve the regiments, they are dragged away from their families to begin training. If they survive, they will be expected to enforce the laws of the Covenant, to fight the Ashari tribesmen who raid along the border, and to be judge, jury, and executioners for those accused of crimes. For Riam, who welcomes his escape from an abusive father, the power to protect those who cannot defend themselves is alluring. For Nola, who wishes to return home, it is a betrayal by all she holds dear. Neither is given a choice, and neither may ever get the chance to serve. So this is the first book of a trilogy. I thought this one might have been a standalone, but it is not. So they are all series. I don't know. We'll have to see. That does sound interesting, but if we're doing like a big training thing, those don't always work the best for me. But let's start and give it a shot. Well, here it is. This one did not engage me a whole lot. It starts off kind of, I mean, as you'd expect with the first chapter based on that synopsis. But you have the character Riam or whoever, and he's dealing with his drunk, abusive father and kind of thing. And then the people, the Dragaran and somebody from the local magistrate show up because he was supposed to be tested, and then it seems like he's gonna be taken off and doing the whole thing. And it was like not bad, but it felt, I don't know, it felt kind of weird. Just the style, I don't know that it really clicked with me. And again, I'm not sure, just based on the tropes it sounds like this one's going to be doing are ones that I don't tend to be a fan of, so this is definitely not going to win. I know that much, so at least makes my decision a little bit easier. But I might still give it a shot at some point. I'll have to see. However, though, we are now on our last one, which is a little bit different, and that is The Starless Crown by James Rollins. So this one, I know this was an author who didn't typically write fantasy and moved over, and I just remember hearing about this a lot, and I picked up a copy when it was somewhat newer, and I've still never gotten to it. I think it might even be complete by now, the trilogy, but it was supposed to be good, and I don't know a ton about it otherwise, but I remember it sounded interesting, and so I picked it up. It's another one I've just had for a long time, and I really should just try at some point. So let's read the blurb for this one. An alliance embarks on a dangerous journey to uncover the secrets of the distant past and save their world in this captivating vision. Oh, gosh. Okay, sorry. Here we go. A gifted student foretells an apocalypse. Her reward is a sentence of death. Fleeing into the unknown, she is drawn to a team of outcasts. A broken soldier who once again takes up weapons he's forbidden to wield and carves a trail back home. A drunken prince who steps out from his beloved brother's shadow and claims a purpose of his own. An imprisoned thief who escapes the crushing dark and discovers a gleaming artifact, one that will ignite a power struggle across the globe. On the run, hunted by enemies old and new, they must learn to trust each other in order to survive in a world evolved in strange, beautiful, and deadly ways, and uncover ancient secrets that hold the key to their salvation. But with each passing moment, I don't even know what I'm saying. But with each passing moment, doom draws closer. Who will claim the Starless Crown? This is the end paper. That's kind of interesting. So, sounds like you're kind of like, motley crew group of people getting together and a big sprawling thing. So, interesting to start. Let's try the first chapter. I don't know what I was expecting, but that was not it. So I did it was called Before, not actually the prologue. And the first chapter was pretty short. So I was going to just do that too. But honestly, I didn't even need more than that because I'm already very engaged. This seems like it's going to be kind of dark, and it opens up with a woman who had been like on the run giving birth, and then it happens and like some like reptilian creature comes up, and then this like demon bat thing comes up, and it's like it was really wild and crazy. And the writing, like the prose is has a really interesting style to it. It's kind of stylized and very intriguing. So this definitely, I think between this and Lord of the Isles is what it's going to be for what I will pick up probably the soonest. Although I've been interested in 4 out of the 5 here, so that's still pretty good to to get soon, but I think I'm just gonna have to wait and see what I'm actually in the mood for. So definitely I'll read one of these, at least one of these. It might be more because this did go fairly well. But yeah, if because it'll just depend on what I end up in the mood for. If I want something a little bit more the classic fantasy kind of old school style with Lord of the Isles, or if I want something a bit more modern and stylized with Starless Crown. But overall, this has gone really well, so I'm not entirely sure, but I have a pretty good idea of what it'll be. But this was kind of fun to just explore some books that I've had for a while that I really need to get to. So yeah, let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these, or if you I'm always open to being like told like, oh, this is actually really good, or you will like this or you won't like this. Definitely let me know your thoughts. But this went pretty well, and I'm very intrigued now by all of these to some extent. So we'll have to see how it goes. That's really it for this one, though. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description, as always, for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizard of the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether any of these books, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And, of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.